Who wouldn't want to make an extra $50,000 flipping real estate in their spare time using other people's money? Well, today, I'm going to break down 12 steps to expose the real estate flip so that if you want to take advantage of flipping real estate, you know exactly the steps to follow so that you don't end up bankrupt or in a lawsuit. Folks, the next step is being prepared. So many folks want to start flipping houses because they go to open houses and they see places that need some work, or they're looking online thinking, I bet I could flip that. But folks, there's so much more to it. The most important part is having your financing in place. That's not just going to include having a pre-approval letter, but it's possibly going to include things like getting your loan pre-underwritten so you're an even stronger buyer. And maybe you even go as far as having secondary financing in place so that you can finance your fix-up and possibly even your down payment and make a flip happen with completely somebody else's money. But you just said things like pre-approval letter, underwritten loans, and secondary financing. And yeah, real estate is very complicated, and I'm going to give you a blueprint here, an outline as to what you should be thinking about when you're thinking, do I want to flip houses? But if you don't know these details yet, then there are two things you can do. One, you could ask somebody, or number two, and yeah, it's a plug, you could check out my real estate investing course that's going to teach you the exact details on how to do everything. But don't worry, at the very least, take this blueprint, because maybe you already understand this, or you're gonna find it out a different way. Being prepared is one thing, but once you're prepared, you're gonna start getting anxious, because you know what? When I'm prepared and ready to go, I go nuts. I start writing offers, I get super stoked, and I'm like, give me a deal, people, come on, where's my money? And so that is something that you need to be cautious of, because folks, if you're not patient, then what's going to happen is you're going to overpay for a deal. And the last thing I want you to do is leave a comment on this channel going, I took your advice and I lost money. Let me give you an example on doing some numbers. So here are the numbers on a deal we recently did, and then we're gonna jump back into the rest of the blueprint. First, we found a property that we could buy for $410,000. It was a short sale and we negotiated down as much as we possibly could. We figured the after repair value, or ARV, was somewhere around $580,000. We estimated that we'd put in about $75,000 to worst case $90,000. So always go with your worst case number, because the last thing you want to do is overspend and under net, because that's the whole point of doing flips, is netting money. When we did our worst case calculations, we would walk away after $36,000 in selling costs and a $580,000 sales price to $56,000. So look, you might be thinking, well, come on, Kevin, all right. I'm gonna be prepared and I'm not gonna be impatient. I'm gonna run the numbers. I'm gonna make sure, the rule of thumb, that I'm making at least 50 grand on this deal, because ideally, you don't wanna make less than $50,000 on a flip, because things come up. Worst case, if you walk away with 30 grand, you know what? That's still pretty good. But if you go in with a 30 grand buffer and then you make 5 or 10, that's a pretty bad day. I'd rather turn this tap water on and start drinking from it. So whatever you do, make sure the numbers are right, because the buy part of real estate flipping is probably the most important part. Let's get on to step number 3. But step number 3, folks, nobody does this. People want to like buy a house and then get into the deal and start swinging a hammer and start like, yeah, I'm flipping a house, I'm shooting a nail gun, I'm painting, yeah, I'm flipping. People go into flips without a plan all of the time. And that is the best way to go over budget. Most of the time, because people forget the most important thing when it comes to flipping: time. Holding costs on this house, the example that we just gave, were about $175 per day, because almost the entire fund was financed. In such a scenario, to try to do some stuff yourself really just shoots yourself in the foot, and now you're not getting licensed contractor designations, or probably not even permits. Well, Kevin, what should I do? I mean, I want to not spend too much time, and I want to make my 50 grand in 90 days, like you said. How do I do it? Fine, so here's what you got to do. During your escrow period, let's say you have a 30-day escrow period, you want to get all of your contractors and your vendors, every single one of them, ideally a general. If you want to sub out flooring yourself or electrical yourself, fine. go for it. But make sure you coordinate and communicate your exact plan with all of your contractors. And the only way you can do that is by knowing exactly what you're going to do up front. So the second you get an offer accepted, I want you to make an entire plan of exactly what you're going to do, down to exactly what color finishes are going to be, what light fixtures you're going to put in, which appliance package you're going to put in, what color countertop, what style flooring, everything. I want you to figure that out the same day if possible. I don't care if you have to stay up and drink 2 Monsters as you get the deal. Figure it out. Then you can meet your contractors while you're in escrow and actually give them a real plan that's going on. And now all of a sudden every vendor has the right expectation, and rather than, oh, I thought you were going with brushed nickel. Oh, I thought you were doing that color. It's all pre-outlined, and you can give it to vendors in a nice bullet point format, nice outline format. And you can also now give all of the contractors the expectation as to what date they should be expected to show up for work. Your demo crew and your first people in should be showing up for work the day you close escrow. You know how many people close escrow on a house and then leave the thing vacant for months because they're waiting for plans and approvals or contractors? Get that stuff done up front. Look, I'm not immune to that. I've made that mistake too, but it wouldn't be nice of me not to warn you. So get your ducks in a row before you start trying to flip a place. All right. Number 4, 3 rules of thumb. The number 1 rule is remember to stick to cosmetics whenever you can. If you start getting too advanced, well, usually you end up losing money, because guess what? Just because an electrician says it's going to cost you $7 grand to put a new 200 amp panel in and rewire the house, how many light fixtures are they including? Are they including patching the drywall holes that they're gonna make? What about retexturing those walls now? Certainly not repainting, and probably not drywall or fixing the holes either. So usually these are places where newer investors really get tagged big, is they get into this idea that everything on the house has to be perfect, and they're gonna replace every system in the house, and then all of a sudden they realize, wow, every stone you unturn on a real estate flip leads to a whole lot more money out of your pocket. So you're better off not touching the stones in the first place. Just leave them and let the next buyer do their inspections. Now you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Kevin. I mean, isn't that why flips kind of have that reputation? Well, yeah. You're not lying to anybody. And you're going to make sure to disclose to buyers that this was a cosmetic renovation, and they should do their due diligence, because this is going to be an as-is sale. Rule of thumb number 2 kind of sticks along the lines of rule of thumb number 1. You don't have to, don't move walls. To move walls correctly, you generally need to beef up the foundation, you need an architect, you need an engineer, you need permits. Just the paperwork fees alone could not only cost you $10,000, but it might take you another 3 months on the project. Now, you could do it illegally, but open your future checkbook to potential liability, especially in areas like earthquake zones, so you want to be very careful of that. If you're just doing cosmetic things like replacing light fixtures and plumbing fixtures, even if you had to pull a permit, they should be what are called over-the-counter permit, like easy-to-get permits, and they shouldn't cost you too much. Rule of thumb number 3, and people forget this all the time, it ain't your house. You ain't gonna be living in it. And if you're part of my real estate investing course, you know that my rule of thumb is when you're living in a house, you don't over-improve that either. Because guess what happens when you over-improve the house you're living in? No. You ain't spending money on buying and acquiring more rental properties. And what's the goal of the real estate investing course? To teach you how to control a massive portfolio, an empire of real estate wealth. So remember, when you're making your plan, keep those rules of thumb in mind. But most importantly, when you're in escrow and you start discovering things that are going to add to your cost, make sure you renegotiate if necessary. Doesn't mean you're always gonna get something, but hey, doesn't hurt to ask. Always courtesy flush. Yeah, we're good. Number 6, have all of your contractors lined up so that there's not a single day that isn't filled up with somebody working the day escrow closes to the day you're done with your cosmetic renovation. Oh wait, apparently I already gave that one away earlier, but that messes with the flow of the script. So maybe I did this on purpose to reiterate the importance of starting the day escrow closes. Look, I get it. I don't want to go visit the properties under renovation every 2 days either, but folks, you really need to go visit the properties that are under renovation that you're doing, especially your flips, at least every 2 days. If you ain't there, people are going to make decisions themselves, and they might not be in accordance with the plan that you already made. and make sure that you don't deviate from your plan while you're there, because it's gonna mess up the people coming down the road and it takes profit away from you. It's more money out of your pocket. Stop making changes while the renovation is happening. Go in with your plan, execute your plan, and get out. You wanna make changes? Save it for the next one. By the way, that's become a family saying of ours. Next house. Number 8, and this is something most people hate doing, focus, focus, focus on the touch-up and the follow-through. And I don't just mean following through on what the contractors are doing, but I'm talking about the little itty-bitty details that you don't think matter and you just want to get on the market faster because, well, yeah, every day is money. But folks, little simple things like these little faceplates here, make sure the screws are all in alignment. Maybe just replace all the faceplates. Make sure the switches are nice and clean and there isn't paint on them. Little things like that are the detail items that will make people realize, oh, this isn't just another cheap lipstick on a pig flip, even though you might only be doing cosmetics. Instead, you want people realizing, oh, they actually took the time to make sure everything was straight, orderly, clean. Because folks, if you can't hang the door straight and you can't keep the switches and baseboards clean, then what else is wrong? Remember the psychology of buyers. People don't like flips. Is this Blippi?
Let's look at the color of these balls.
Folks, next, price under the market. I know that sounds crazy, and usually after doing a flip, you get kind of, hate to say it, greedy. You're kind of like, oh, I want to push it. I want to push the envelope. I want to get that high pop. But the best way for you to get your cosmetic renovation the most money possible is to price it under the market. The house that I talked about with the numbers earlier, where we were thinking the after repair value would be $580,000, that was pretty conservative. So when we put it on the market for $579,900, we ended up getting multiple offers and we sold for $600,000. When issues came up during the inspections and the buyers were saying things like, hey, you didn't replace the furnace, and we shot back with, we disclosed to you that this was a cosmetic flip, but if you don't like it, we have 3 other buyers in line to buy the house. Now all of a sudden, the market set the value itself, and the buyer's objections were eliminated because we let the market do the work for us. I mean, think about this for a second. If it's a flip, it should be pretty beautiful. It should present itself well. So let the market do the push for you. If you don't get the push, you get full price, big deal. You got in alignment with what you needed. And worst case, if you didn't get the multiple offers right away, that means the market softened or you did something wrong. In which case, take your money and run, because the last thing you want is that property sitting and getting a bunch of daddy long legs coming around. Okay, I'm serious about that one. I think daddy long legs was looking at me while I was filming that, and it's kind of making me think of those days Lauren puts cups on spiders, and when I come home from work, she makes me go around killing all the spiders that are under cups. By the way, if you want to see the house I'm in much more detail, because this is also a flip, although we don't have the numbers ready for this one just yet to talk about, we're talking about an old flip, you can check the link in the description right under the links to the courses to a 3D Matterport virtual tour. It will actually let you walk around this in 3D. It's not like one of those lame slideshow virtual tours. Oh, and if you're a real estate agent, you might really want to stop at that real estate sales link, because folks, for the price of my real estate agent sales course, you're gonna learn so much, it's gonna make you that money back so dang fast. But no guarantees, because I don't want to get sued. But we do have private live streams there and a private Discord channel as well, just like the investing course. So we could talk about it, we could talk it out. Talking things out is good. Look, we've mentioned this before, but real estate flips have a stigma. And don't kid yourself, people know that your deal is a flip. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're doing your renovation. People are going to realize this is a flip. So be upfront about it and price accordingly. Oh, and number 10, because for whatever reason I have it separated from this, if after 14 days in most median price markets you don't have an offer yet, you need to drop your price and get that flip gone. As long as you went in and did your numbers pretty close to accurately upfront and you had all the bids to substantiate your renovation budget, you should be okay. Oh gosh, that is not what I thought it was. Well, while I'm here, number 11 is, I forgot what number 11 is, hold on. Always keep in mind, maintain what's called a go away money fund. Literally, go away money fund. As in, expect that once you get into escrow, even if your contracts say sales are as is, expect to put a little bit of money aside. Most go away money funds that I have on a flip are 0.5% of the purchase price. So if this house sells for $650,000, I would probably put aside 650 times 0.5%, $3,250. Last thing, folks, you want to package up the signs as soon as possible. You don't want to be that person that's at the bar talking to people about how they got a house for sale and they flipped it. Ultimately, you want to be the person talking about the deal that you closed. Because folks, this is too dark. This is costing you money. You need to get this deal closed and be done with it. After you're done, make sure to analyze your numbers and be real with yourself. Make sure to add up every little expense. Don't lie to yourself because it's only going to hurt you in the future. Nobody's judging you. Add up the numbers. If you made a 30 grand profit and you thought you were gonna make a 50 grand profit, you suck. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually pretty good because most people who think they're gonna make a 50 grand profit and don't follow some of the advice I'm talking about here are lucky if they break even. So look, this is YouTube. What is pre-underwriting? How do you run the numbers? How do you find these deals? It would probably take me about 250 lectures worth of information to tell you this. Oh wait, that's kind of how long my real estate investing course is, because that's how I teach you the fundamentals of principles of investing in real estate. Now my goal is to start exposing some more topics related to real estate more often, so I can give you these shorter, condensed blueprints more frequently. And overall, well, they're kind of fun to do because I was just holding an open house, and what's the best thing to do while you're sitting at an open house wondering, should you buy a flip if you're a buyer or should you not? You just start filming a video so you can kind of talk about real estate because there's nobody at the open house to talk to you about real estate about it. That's the point of doing an open house. You see, agents want to talk to people and meet people, and it's nice to be able to talk to people, but if nobody's coming to the open house, then you could have a tripod set up, you could have your car doors open, you could have